this is going to be a fun. So we're going to see a lot of things. So first of all, let me share my screen so that uh, let me know once the screen is visible. Right? Is my screen visible, everyone? Yes or no, guys? Quickly. Right. So yeah. So let's start, guys. Now let's start. So till now, what we have seen, right? So if I have to discuss everything till now, so then I can just write it here. So let's start, everyone. So till now, so what we have seen, guys, till now, quickly. So today is the last class of Python, right? Now from next class onwards, either we will be seeing GUI development in Python, a couple of projects, and then we'll starting with Python for data science. That is your libraries, pandas, numpy, matplotlib, seaborn. And then after that we are going to see SQL, and then finally we are going to start statistics. So this is the uh, you know just to give you guys a little bit of idea that how we are going to move ahead. And after statistics we will be seeing some of the things like Flask API, so that it will be very helpful whenever I will be, so some concepts of ML ops, that will be very helpful while working on end to end ML project. That would be the idea. But anyway, so let's move ahead. So what we have seen till now, right? Till now, this is the last class of Python, right? So very important. So if I have to talk about the broader things, so we will started with basics of Python, right? Basics of Python. So we started with basics of Python. A recording is there, right, guys? The recordings have started, right? Obviously, I guess recordings must be started. Yes, very good. So we started with the basics of Python. Then we covered operators. Then we covered data structure, right? Data structure, data structure. Then we also covered functions. Right, before that also conditional and loops. Conditionals, conditionals. Then we covered loops, right? Then we covered functions, and in functions we covered everything: map, reduce, filter, whatever you want. Now comes OOPS. In OOPS, we have covered every pillar of OOPS, inheritance, you name it, we have covered everything. Then we also covered namespaces, decorators, everything we have covered in OOPS. Now, in the last class, we were dealing with file handling, and that too, we discussed everything in detail. I had also provided you XML file, how to read and write XML file in the code. I am hoping that you guys must have seen it. Even if not, it's okay. But yes, I have provided you that in the there, right? Now, after that, today what we are going to see. So, agenda of today's class. So today, the agenda of today's class would be how to date Monjolika, right? This is the first one. This is something what we have to discuss. How to, right, climb Mount Everest, right? So this is the second thing we are going to discuss today. Yes or no, everyone? Quickly. Again, as usual, Sajil says yes. Everyone, this is something that we are going to discuss, right? No, guys, we are not going to discuss this. So, on a lighter note, now moving to a serious note, so we are going to start with something very important, that is exception handling, right? Exception handling. Then we are going to see logging, right? and then we are going to see memory management. Memory management, right? In this memory management, we are going to see multi-threading, multi-processing, everything in details. Yes, modules and packages. So after logging, I will discuss modules and packages. So we are going to see also modules and packages and packages. Is it clear, everyone? So far, so good. Everyone, anyone has any doubts so far? Clear? What we are going to look at quickly, guys. Right. This is something that we are going to look at. Right. Memory management. Memory management. Right. I had missed this. Memory management. Now, in the next class, whatever concepts that we have studied, so what I am going to plan. So, in the syllabus, I had promised you two projects in Python, right? Specific to Python. I'm not talking about Python for data science, but seeing the no, I am also enjoying teaching. So I will be going to give you four Python project: first, second, third, fourth. So two I will discuss in the class. Two I will give you as a homework, right? So already ATM project, I am going to give you something very end to end. Then after that, some cab booking system. Maybe let's say cab booking system. Something I will do it, right? Cab booking. So in this, what is the meaning of end to end here in this case? End to end simply means, right? No, Rajkumar, we are not converting. You are not connected to database as of now because we haven't studied to the database. So no point on adding to the database because we are focusing on Python. So first of all, Python. Then we will be seeing Python for data science, right? Then we are going to see the database. Then at that point of time, I might ask you guys. So using the database now, connect to the ATM and then do the cab booking system, whatever it is like. But as of now, all the Python concepts with exception handling, logging, everything should be done. So these two I am planning to do it, and other two I will be giving you the solution, and you guys can look at it. But before that, also I would request you in this week, whenever you get time, already you know what is the expectation in cab booking or ATM. I remember I had discussed this in one of the class that you should what is the need or how to move ahead. So I would request you guys, one thing you can do in this cab booking or ATM, just try to do it on your own. In ATM class, I have given you something, I have already explained you, right? I have discussed that as well. But what I am going to say here, what I am asking here, I am asking that in both of this problem statement, take this responsibility that you will also implement exception handling, you will implement oops, you will implement logging, you will be having different modules, right? All of these things, whatever you want to implement, whatever you have studied in Python, please try to implement that. Okay, right? Right? Yes or no? Quickly, will you guys try it out? Everyone, right? Everyone, will you guys try it out? Right? Right. Just please try it out. Anyway, I am there. I will be discussing this in detail. Jyoti says missed. So please, Jyoti, watch the recordings. Right. 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 I know you will be able to do this. So please watch the recording. So let's start, guys. Let's start with today's discussion. Right. Very good. Now we will start with, I don't know what to start with. Should I start with exception handling or logging? What do you think, guys? What should we start with? Exception or logging? So let's start with logging and debugging. So let's start with the logging and debugging first. So we'll start with logging and debugging, and then we will move ahead. Okay, very good. So far, so good. Everyone is happy till now. Quickly, right? Everyone is happy. Right, right, right. Very good, very good, very good. Right, right. Right, right. So now let's start, guys. So let's start. Now to start with, right, what I am going to do, I am going to open a Jupyter notebook. As usual, everyone is requested to open the Jupyter notebook. So please open your Jupyter notebook, right? Everyone, right? Everyone, please open your Jupyter notebook quickly, right? Right, right, right. Mhm. So I will just open my Jupyter notebook, right? And here we have Python 3, right? Everyone opened your Jupyter notebook? Yes or no? The first concept is logging and debugging. Very important topic, and this is very, very important actually. Very important. Whenever I say this is very important, it really means this is important. Right, 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 right. Right. Everyone opened the Jupyter notebook. Only Santanu and Survi I see. What about other people? Other people quickly. Right, 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 right. Very good. Everyone has opened. Sajil says it is always open. So basically, guys, Sajil is that guy uh, who appears my one of the batch at 12 to 3, and then again he is back from 6 to 9. So he is, that's why he's saying his Jupyter notebook is always open. So now, guys, let's start. Right. Let's start. Right. Understanding one thing. Right. Right. From the very basics. We'll try to understand everything from the very basics. First thing, right, we have to understand why logging and debugging. This is very important. Why logging? Right. Why logging? What is something now? Right, right. Why we actually understand, or why do we need to log something? This is something that we have to understand first in detail, and then move ahead to debugging. So debugging is just a part of logging. So here you don't need to uh, worry about that. But first of all, we need to understand why do we need logging and debugging. So any idea, guys? If you guys have any idea, right? Anything, whatever you feel like, right? Right. Track the program. Rajkumar is saying very good. Anyone else? Right. Anyone else? Anyone else? Right. Anyone else? Right. 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 Or to gain access. Very good. Something like that. Right. So first of all, do you guys remember when you were child, right? When you were child, what you used to do? So let's say your day-to-day life was, so let's say, for example, you went to college, right? After college, maybe let's say you went to where, maybe somewhere, music class. Then after music class you went to play badminton, let's say. After badminton is done, you took a shower and then went for a date with Monjolika, right? Right. And then finally, right, right, you go to home, right? Now, in this sequence, if you guys remember in your childhood days, and if you have child, I hope that many of you might be having your babies or child, right? Right. Then your mother used to call you, or your father used to call you, or you yourself used to call your father or parents. I am here. Hello, dad. I am here. Hello, mom. I am here. Something like that. Right. Right. Why? Why you used to do that? You used to do that, right? Right. Because, right. Because you used to do that because you wanted to make sure that your parents know that you are safe. This is the understanding, right? Similarly, for a developer, for a data scientist, their program is their child. Program is our child, and we want our program to be safe, or at least I want to know that if my program is safe or not. And if I want to know that, then I need to keep track of the program, and hence we require logging and debugging. Is it clear? Very small analogy, but very, very effective to understand. Clear? Yes or no? Right? 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 Yes or no, guys? Quickly. Right? 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 So far? Right? 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 So now we have understand one thing, right? Uh, Prabhu, Jyoti says, can you explain, please? Okay, Jyoti, I will obviously explain it again because I haven't explained anything. So I will explain it again. Right? 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 Right. So I'll just type few things and then we can move ahead. Right. So let's say here I will just type something similar to similar to you updating your parents every hour, every hour, every hour via phone call, via phone, in order to make sure you are safe. You are safe. Similarly, 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 program is like a child for his developer, for his or her developer, his or her developer. Whenever there is some problem with the child, developers should know this. So, in order to make sure, right, in order to make sure that program is running successfully, successfully at each critical step, we do logging. Logging simply means logging the stage, right? Logging simply means logging the stage. Clear? Everyone? Yes or no? Clear? Right? Yes or no, guys? Quickly. Right? Right? Everyone? Quickly. Yes or no? Very good. Very good. Now, this is your logging. But what is debugging? Right. So let's say here, I will just write similarly. But what is debugging? What is the meaning of debugging? Can you answer this? Okay, logging is fine. Logging means keep track of, right? But what is debugging? This is very, very important. Many of the people doesn't understand what is the meaning of debugging. Right. Right. Very good, Rajkumar. Rajkumar says, fix the error. Very good. Debugging simply means, if you want to say debugging, then here I can just write helps to identify and fix bugs by tracking code execution, examining variables and testing assumptions. Very easy. And how it is possible? By seeing the log file. By seeing the log file, right? The logging. And that's why logging and debugging go hands in hands, right? It is always taught together, right? So now formally similar to this, if I have to define logging, then how I can define logging? Very simple. Helps to understand the flow of code execution, and identify issues by recording events and data, recording events and data at various stage of program. This is formal definition. You will only understand when I will show you the practical implementation, but this is the understanding. Clear? Yes or no? This is the meaning of logging and debugging. I know you might not have understood everything. Obviously, I am not expecting that you have understood everything because we have not started with anything. Right, 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 right. So far, so good. Anyone has any questions so far? Right, right. Now let's move ahead. Right, right, right. Let's move ahead slowly. So let's say I will write some code in front of you. I will write some code in front of you. Right, right. Debugging examples. Debugging examples. Right. So for I in range of let's say 10. Right. For I in range of 10, print I. Print I. Print I. So here you got the value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So now for I in the range of 10, you are printing I. Now here I will just write for I in the range of minus 10 to 10. Let's say you got this value. Now after that for j in range of right right 8 to 10, right, I am going to divide it. So print I right sorry j divided by I. So first of all, can I do this? Yes or no? I'm just trying to divide this. Print j divided by I. Right, right. First of all, right. Can you do this? Print j divided by I. Simple thing. And now instead of this minus 10, I will just write 6. Let's say here as of now 6. So this is the value, guys. I am dividing. So 6 to 10, 8 to 10 in this loop. These are the division 1.33, 1.5, 1.4. These are not division. No, division. These are the question. So 1. So 8 by 8 should be 1 here. 1.25, 0.8, 1. So far so good, guys, everyone. This is something that you are going to do. You are looking at it. Not a problem. Now, here, let's say instead of instead of now 6, I will just write minus 10 because number range can be anything. So let's say if I have written here from 6 to 10, I can also write from minus 10 to 10. Yes or no? Everyone should agree. Now, if you execute, what will happen, guys, here? What will happen here? Anyone? What will happen here in this case? Try to execute this. Very good. It got executed, and suddenly comes my love, Monjolika, and it gives you a zero division error. This is a zero division error. But now, okay, fine, this is zero division error. But the point is, why it came? Why the zero division error came? That's the question now. Why this zero division error came? So now the question is, why zero division error came? Now how to find it? Why zero division error came? Guys, can you answer this? Zero division error came. How can you figure out this problem? How will you figure out this problem? Anyone? Say it. Right. How will you figure it out problem? Right. Jyoti says because we have negative value. No, Jyoti, that's not the reason. Right. How to figure it out? Why it came? Zero division value. And this will happen whenever you're writing a lot of program. Then how to find the issue? This is very, very important. I will give you some steps with my experience. Right? How, if there is some error, then how can we figure out the error? First, right, what is the best practice for debugging? Practice for debugging. Right? First thing, always copy paste the error and search on stack overflow, stack overflow slash Google. What is stack overflow? A platform. Have you heard about Quora? Right. Similar to Quora, for developers, it is stack overflow. Very simple. So first step, copy paste the code. So you will copy paste the code like this. So control C, right? Control C and just search it here, control V. That's it. And here if you see error Python, zero division error. So now here you will understand that okay, the problem is that sometimes in the denominator, if zero is coming, and that's why it is throwing the error. Right. So now second point, always copy paste the code and search on Stack Overflow or Google. Right. If you don't find anything on stack overflow, right, right, stack overflow overflow, please search on official documentation. So in this case you could have searched on the Python documentation, official documentation. This is the way how to detect the error. So how to understand the error. So how to understand the error. How to understand the error. So this is the first step, right? Steps of debugging. Steps of debugging. Steps of debugging. Steps of debugging. So now, in this case, we have understood this that this is zero division error. Why? We went to Stack Overflow. We understood if there is a denominator y is zero or denominator value is zero, then it gives you this error. So we have understood this. Now, second step, right? Right. What are the second step? Second step is to identify the exact bug where this bug is taking place. For that you have to use print statement. Use the print statement. Use try except that we are going to look at later stage. Print the variable name. Print statement for, okay, I will just write it here. Print statement for variable names. So you will understand that. Try except and finally login. Right. This is the step that you should follow. But since we have not understood try except and logging, so I'll just keep this try except at a later stage. Right. Logging first. Since we have not understood these two things, we will go with print statement. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to now print the values. So what I will do, print I. So let's say I will print I, right, and then also print J, right, or let's say not print J. Now let's see here, instead of printing I want to check where the error is there. So let's say here we started with this print I, -10 is there, -9 is there, -8 is there, and it went, but at the last if you see there is zero, and after this zero this issue is coming. It means the variable I is taking a value zero, due to which the error is coming, right? Due to which the error is coming. Now that's the understanding, right? Now print the variable, print the variable I to know the error, to know the error. So now here, if you printed I here, print I, then you have realized that okay, at this step, when I is zero, when I is zero, when I is zero, the error is coming. Now, this was a small problem, right? This was a small program. That's why you were easily able to see and figure it out. This was a small program, right? Right. That's why you were able to see it, right? So now here comments, comments. So this was a small program. This was a small program, right? A small program. That's why, that's why it was easy. It was easy, at least it was easy to to figure out the error. Figure out the error. This is the first point. Figure out the error. Right. Second point, in real time, whenever you will be deploying the code, right, you will not find print statement working with the console. Statement with working with the console. Now, what is console? Right. Console is simply terminal. Try to understand a terminal where you are executing something. So in real time, this print statement will not work. So for example, let's say if you are using something like this. So for example, here I will just show you. So let's say if you want to know something for I in range of 10, right? Range of 10. If you want to put something like this, print the current number is the current number is. Let's say you are writing like this. The current number is I, right? So let's say this. So you got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But do you really think when you will be running a pipeline, you will be able to see the print statement? No, these all variables, all of these print statements will be lost. In real time, you will not find print statement working with the console, and also the variable information will be lost after after subsequent steps, after subsequent steps, right? This is the understanding. Now, what is the solution to this? Right, we have understood what is a debugging. We saw an example how to debug it, but now the point is, this is right, right, right. It was easy to figure out. Now we understood what is debugging. We saw a small problem where there was some issue with the code. We fixed it. But the point is, this print statement is not going to work on a bigger pipeline. This is not going to work. In the console or in the terminal, it is not going to work. And also, let's say there are stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, multiple stages. In all of those cases, there will be a lot of variables, and the variable value at different stages might be lost. So in that case, what you will do? Then comes the requirement of logging. What is logging? Right, logging is nothing but like a diary entry. Logging is like a diary entry, your daily diary entry of the program. Very simple. No if, no buts. So what is logging? Logging simply means keeping track of, keeping track of, keeping track of. Logging keeps the track of, or let's say logging module keeps track of event, events, events in a software run. Software run. Yes, Praveen says just like checkpoints. Yes, you can say. Right. Jyoti says, what is a bigger pipeline? Bigger pipeline simply means here you are writing a code of one Jupyter notebook, right? But when you will start working on end-to-end project, everything you will not be able to do in a notebook. There is some best practices. So ideally, I will give you some hint. So let's say whenever you will be working with end-to-end project, how it works. So for example, you can have multiple folders. First can be artifacts, it will be for the data. Then you can have a train folder. Then you can have, let's say, model training. So let's say model training folder. Then you can have model testing folder, Some people also keep the notebook folder, right? So these together, multiple folders inside multiple scripts becomes a pipeline. And not only this, let's say here in the notebook or in artifact, you have connected to a database. So from database to artifact, right, folder, and then this model prediction is shown on, let's say, some sort of UI. So this whole complete thing is a pipeline. So bigger pipeline simply means a bigger project, a real world project that you will be working in the corporate. Right, right, very good. So now moving ahead. So now logging module keep track of events in a software run. We have understood this, not a problem. Very good, right, right, very good. Now but the point is, logging module keep track of events for what? Right, right, for debugging, to get the information, right? So based on the information criticality, logging has different levels, right? So I'll just write it in one statement. Logging supports different different level levels of logging, which helps to categorize messages based on severity messages on based on severity. So this is your logging logging levels. So what is the logging level? There are multiple levels. I will come to this. Right. I will come to this. Right. I will come to this. So basically, if I have to define what are different logging levels, so there are multiple, logging levels. Majorly five. What are the five logging levels? First one is debug. This is debug, right? Debug. Second one is info. Third one is warning. Fourth one is error. And fifth one is critical. Critical. Have you seen whenever you move on traffic, there is some red light, yellow light, green light, right? Different levels of mode of traveling. Red means stop. Green means move ahead. Yellow means start your bike. Be ready. Similarly, here in a program, you have different logging levels: debug, info, warning, error, critical. Right. Now, how to understand this? What is the importance? I will discuss everything about this. And believe me, in Python, whatever you have studied till now, everything in terms of practical implementation, everything one side, and this logging and debugging on other side. This is so important because at the end of the day, everyone wants to write a program which is very much error free. Logging, debugging, exception handling. You want your program to be error free, and that's why it is very important to know the concept of logging, debugging, and exception handling. Right, fine. You have understood this, that logging supports different levels of logging. So let's say you want to log things, but what you want to log, in which category you want to log. So logging has given you these five categories. Now what is the meaning of this? So we will discuss everything in one by one detail. So let's start, guys. So I'll just remove this. First of all, see, this is folder. There is nothing in this folder. Now what I am going to do, I am going to first create a log file. So I'll just write logging. So first, before that, I will just import the logging module. So import logging. So just write import logging. Everyone has to write this import logging. Everyone written this logging quickly. Everyone written this logging. Right, right, right. Very well. Now let's move ahead. So this you will first, execute this. This is a logging module. Now, first thing, you will make a log file. logging dot basic config. So basic config. See, logging dot basic config. It requires two things. First, file name. File name is equals to whatever file name you want to put. So let's say here first log or second log. So let's say first log. Very simple. First log, or let's say first dot log. So log extension should be always there. Dot log. So first log dot log, test dot log, first test dot log, first log dot log, whatever you want to put a name, you can put it. And the second thing is label is equals to logging dot info. Be very, very careful. This info is caps lock. This info is caps lock. Info is caps lock. Right? Right. Now, what will happen if you execute this? Right. So let's try to execute this. So I will execute this. Now let's go to this folder. Oh my God. See, magic. You have first dot log. Right. So this has been created 2 seconds ago. See? Now let's say you want to log something. Right. So how you can log? Very easy. Logging.info. Right. Logging.info. Logging.info. Let's say info. I will first log.info. So maybe this is normal information. Anything, whatever you want to write, information about a software run. Whatever you want to write, you can just write. So this is the first message. Maybe I want to have error, logging dot error, right? This is the error message, something like that. This is the error message. Maybe I will also log something else. So logging dot warning, right? Logging dot warning. So logging dot warning, you can simply write logging dot warning. This is my message. This is my, logging dot warning. This is my warning. This is my warning. So you can also have, let's say, anything, whatever you want to put. Let's say maybe logging dot critical, critical, right? This is a critical message. So this is a critical message. This is a critical message. Critical message. Then you want to log, maybe let's say logging dot debug, debug. Here you can just write, right? Life is very good. Life is very good. Eat, date, and sleep. Right. Let's say this is the thing. So now, very good. Now, logging, similar to file, is also a file. So if you just click it here, you will not find anything. So if you just click it here, you will not find anything. If you just open it, most probably it will not, you will not be able to see anything. Right. 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 Okay, you are able to see it. Very good. Otherwise, the best practice is also you have to shut down the log. So logging dot shutdown. Logging dot shutdown. So the best practice is logging dot shutdown. You should do it. But sometimes, for some program you can just see it. For some program you don't see it. But anyway, so whatever you guys have written here, see, logging dot info dot error dot warning dot critical, everything you are able to see it here. See, this is a normal information about software run. This is the error message. Again, this has repeated. Why? If you guys remember, because I had executed the same sale twice. So what I can do, one thing I can do, right? I will just delete this log and I will show it again so that you don't get confused. So actually I had executed that particular sale by mistake. That was an error. If you remember, I don't know if you remember that or not, but anyway, so this is your log file. And now if you see the log, first dot log, everything has been executed and you are able to see it. Everyone is able to create the log, right? Right, 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 right. Everyone, everyone, yes or no? Right, 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 right. Very good. Now, guys, let's move ahead. But if you have seen one thing, if you are sharp enough, then you will be seeing that it is unable to print debug. Very good, Rajkumar. Rajkumar has identified this. So, right, everything got printed in the log, got printed in the log, in the log, but in the log, but debug was not printed. Debug was not printed, right? Debug was not printed, right? But why it is the case, right? Right? Why it is the case, right? 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 Why it is the case? Now that's the separate discussion that we will now start with. So basically, what happens? Whatever way you have initialized a log, that will be treated as the base level. So this info becomes base level, and above that, whatever level comes, only that will be logged, right? Only that will be logged, right? Santanu says first level. Can you repeat this? So here I am just creating a file. Login.basic config, login.basic config. So this is the way you create a log file, login.basic config. There are two parameters. First, file name, that is first.log, and this is a label. What is the label of information that you want to store? Now, as per the rule, whatever is the base label, right? Right. Why? Why? The base level is info, and only level above info will be logged. This is the understanding. Now in this case, how many levels we have? So if I have to show you, right, if I have to show you, right, 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 if I have to show you, then there are 5 levels. First one is debug. So if you start with debug here, the base level, then everything will be printed, right? Right. Second one is info. Since you started here with info, debug was not printed. That's why debug was not logged. Then comes warning, then comes error, and then comes critical. What is the meaning of all of this? I will discuss. But if you have kept the level, the base level or the initial level of the log as info, then before that it will not be logged. And that's why you don't see debug in your log file. Now let's say you will say that, okay, I will start with warning. So will this two will be logged? No, this two will not be logged. Only warning, error, and critical will be logged. Let's say if you made critical as the base level, then only critical will be logged. This nothing will be logged. This is clear, everyone? Yes or no? I can give you another example as well. So let's say this time I will copy the same thing, control C, and then right, I will just see, I will show you. So let's say first test dot log, and this time label dot info, I will just put warning. So warning, right? So warning, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute again every code. So right, execute every code here, and here I will just name it first one dot log, and here I can just put it something like this. So here I will just put it something like this, and then logging dot shutdown similarly here. So this time it is first one dot log. Sometimes it will not catch it. So in a one folder there should be only one log. But let's see it. So I'll just execute it. And now if you just go ahead, there should not be any problem. But let's see. So here I will just refresh here. So this time the level of log we have set is first one dot log, and the level is warning. So before warning, there is error. Sorry, error is after warning, but info and debug will not be logged. And if you see here, okay, first log. Okay, this I knew. This is a problem. There is, if there is one log file, and if you have not deleted, then it will not create another log file. This is some problem with Python. But anyway, so we have just executed this, and let's see here. First one dot log, right? Now it is first dot log. But anyway, so let's see it. So here info error. First one login dot warning. Mhm. Mhm. Better we should restart the kernel, then it will be fine. So now, right now I will show you import logging. Import logging. Now if you see import logging, and then here first dot log, so this is something there, and then I will execute it again. So now if you see, there will be first one dot log. This side, this time it should be there. If not, then that's a problem. So yes, first one dot log. And now if you see, since you have warning, you will not find info or debug. You will find error, warning, critical, but other two things you will not find. See, you have error, you have warning, you have critical. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no? Right, right, right. Is it clear? Jyoti, is it clear? I gave you another example. Now let's try to understand. Jyoti says, why other two are not there? That is what I explained, Jyoti. Right? This is what I explained, that everything gets printed or gets logged, right? Gets logged, gets logged in the log, but debug was not printed. Why? Because the base level is info, and only level above info will be logged. And in this case, the level we have fixed is warning, right? But what is the sequence, or what is the hierarchy? So hierarchy, I will just write it here. Hierarchy of different logs. Hierarchy of different logs, right? Here I will just write it. First one is debug. First one is debug. So this is the lowest hierarchy. This is the lowest info, right? So debug, you can simply write detailed information for diagnosing the problem. Information about diagnosing the problem. Diagnosing the problem. Diagnosing the problem. This is the first, the lowest one. This is the lowest one. Okay. This is the lowest level. Right. So lowest level. Right. What do you put it here? Lowest level. I will just put it lowest level. What do you put it here? You provide some message or variables, right? Something like that. Provides, provide, no, log some message slash variable, something like that. Right. Right. Second one is info. Info. So this all should be capital. I will set put it capital everything. Debug, and then we have info. Info. So what does info do? Right, right, right. Info says, or confirms that things are working as expected. So confirmation of confirmation of things things that confirmation that things are working as expected. That things are working as expected. This is the third. So one more thing, guys. Log some message. What message? Error message. So you can just write error message. Generally, it is an error message. So now comes info. This is the second priority. Then third, we have warning. Warning. Right. So what does warning? Warning says about the potential issues. right, right. So warning, an indication that something, something, or some potential issue can be there. Some potential issue can be there, right, right, can be there, or something unexpected happened. Unexpected happened. Very simple. Unexpected happened. Now, fourth step is error. Fourth step is error. So this should all be capital. Error. Warning also it should be capital. So warning, 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 right? Warning. And this is your error. Now what does error do? Right, right, right. What is error? A serious problem. A very serious problem. A serious problem. Very simple. A serious problem with the program. Problem with the program, right? Program. And finally, fifth one is critical. Critical. It simply means a very serious problem. Very serious problem. Problem. The program is terminated. Terminated. Right. Terminated. Something like that. Yes, Sada. We have corresponding integer labels. Right. 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 Either you can use debug or some value like this. So I can just copy paste, you know, Sada's comment here. You can also put like this, right? But this is the understanding, right? Right. So here in the last log, you were taking warning, right? And that's why debug and info was actually not logged. Is it clear now? Everyone. Is it clear? Right. Right. Very good. Very good. I'm really proud of you guys. So now let's see some example. Right. So should we start with some example? Right. So I'll give you one example. Let's try to look at some example. This is going to be fun. Right. 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 This is going to be fun. So what I will do, right, right. Oh, I want to give you, right, right. Okay, I have one idea. I have one example in my mind. So I'll just give you one example. Very easy and very beneficial example that you might, you know, use somewhere. So let's say whenever you will be working with the data, right? Whenever you will be working with the data, I will restart the kernel. Just make sure that everything is restarted. I want to remove this first log. I will just remove this right now. So let's say, right, example, industry use case. Industry use case. Very important example, right? Industry use case example. So let's say you are working with a data pre-processing. Data pre-processing means, right, right, right. Data pre-processing means, right, 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 right. Rajkumar, just wait. Have some patience, right? I know you know things. Have patience. We will have date time, everything. Let's see first example, first few examples. Okay. So let's say you are working in the data industry. Very good. Right. Now what happened? You want to prepare the data. Right. Prepare the data. Right. 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 So for example, let's say we have import logging. Right. Import logging. Right. And again, I will copy this, maybe logging.basic info. So I'll just copy this. So here, right, the first one is debug. So I'll just start with debug itself. So I'll just put it here logging.debug. So I am creating a log. So let's say debug, debug, right? And here log, I will just write data pre-processing, data prep, or let's say data pre-processing log. Very good. Now, let's say I want to have, there is a list. So let's say there is a list. Data is equals to maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to square each of these value. Right? I want to square each of this value. and I am writing a program that will be used anywhere, right? So how can I write the program? See it, very important. So what I can do, I just want to make sure that always, whenever there is a square function, or whenever you want to square, it should always be a list. It should not be anything else, because I want to, you know, have a square of a list elements. So this is a compulsory thing, that the square should be, the square of the element that you want should be a list. This is the first thing. Now, how can you write a function? So let's say process data. So process data, and you want to do the square of the data, right? Right. So now, see how the logging is written. How the logging is written, right? So logging dot, see here, logging dot info. First thing, logging.info. What is the meaning of info? So yes, this is the information we have entered inside this function. So I will just write started the data processing. The data processing. Very simple. So we have started the data processing. This is the first. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting. Now, if if not of each instance, not of each instance data is a list. In the last class I have discussed, each instance is used to, each instance is used to check if the object is of same class or not. Yes or no? Yes or no? Everyone? Right? Right. Now, after that, what we are going to do? If it is not the case, if it is not a list, that's a problem for us. So what we will do? Logging dot error. Logging dot error. The data must be a list. The data must be a list. And guys, this is the way code is written in the industry. And in the last, I will write return none. Return none. Right? Right. 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 Return none. Right. This is the understanding. Okay, sorry guys. Very good, Sada. So this should be small. In flow, I have written this because see, while defining, you have to keep capital. While defining label, you have to keep capital, but when using, you have to keep small. Right. Now, this is the understanding. See here, info I have kept small. Similarly, error should be small. Very good. Now, see what I'm going to do. Fine. Next step, so let's say logging dot debug. What I'm going to do? Logging dot debug. Why debug is used? To provide the message if there is some issue in the code or not. So what I will do now here? I will write data before pre-processing. Before pre-processing. Just to make sure the data that you have is coming in a good way. So here I will just write data. Simple. This is the data. Very good. Now you have to pre-process the data. How you have to pre-process? You want square of the data. Whatever logic you want to write. So main logic. Main logic. Now how to write main logic here? How to write the main logic? Very easy. You can just use for x in data x square, whatever you want to put. So x asterisk asterisk square. This is something like this. So x square. This is your processed data. So I'll just write it here. Processed is equals to like this. Now again, you have processed the data. Again, you want to log it. Okay, till this step, my data is processed. So maybe I will just write again logging dot, this time again debug, and then data after pre-processing. Data after pre-processing. Data after pre-processing. Data after pre-processing. Data after pre-processing, and then you can just use the processed data. Simple. And finally, logging.info, you can just write it here, that finally info that the data pre-processing completed successfully. So data pre-processing completed successfully. Done. And then return process data. Return process data. This is how you should write a small piece of squaring the code. Again, this can be more, handled. How I can just give you another example, but let's say this is the understanding. Now you can just process this data. So let's say process data. So if you use now process data, so process data, pass this data. Now you will see you got the square. But the moment you process the data, something like this, some string or some invalid data, because it is expecting a list. But if you pass like this, see, there is nothing, return none has been returned. And now you can just go ahead and see the log. Everything in the log you will be able to find. So data prep.log, and see in this log here, started the data pre-processing, root data debug mode, data before pre-processing 1 2 3 4, then data after pre-processing 1 4 9 16, then data pre-processing completed successfully, right? And after that, again, when you executed second time with some invalid data, then what happened in that case? You started the data pre-processing, but soon it realized the data must be a list, and that's why it returned none, and the code didn't executed with any result. Clear? Yes or no? Yes or no? Right, right. Yes or no, guys? Quickly. This is very, very important thing. Yes or no? Everyone. Right, 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 right. Everyone, yes or no? I want to hear yes from everyone. Right, 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 right. Jyoti says yes, sir. We don't write the code as we do in def. You have written the code def, but with the checks. If mistakenly we swipe the error in place of info, that will not be any problem. There will be no any problem. It is just that the message here if you see error is there, it will be info. But actually you should not do that, because this has been divided, has been provided after understanding thing, right? After thinking, right? Okay, uh, this should be the way. That's why, right? The best practice is not to change this, right? Right, right. Okay, so now guys, but one thing you might have faced here, there is one problem in this, right? Right, there is one problem, guys. What is the problem? Can anyone answer me? What is the problem here? There is one problem here, right? The problem is, right, right, that you are not knowing, right? You are not knowing actually when this was logged. What time was this log? Right? Because here we are seeing every log in one go. Right? Yes or no, guys? Do you guys agree with this or not? Do you guys agree with this or not? That you are not able to actually understand where or which time this was logged. Right? You are not able to understand this, right? This was logged first or this was logged second. Obviously you are just guessing. But what if I give you the time also in this logging? Because if there is a bigger pipeline, it will take hours to run. Then how will you know that, right? And that's why the best thing, or the no, best practice is to also log with time, right? right, right, right. So in that case, what you can do? Nothing, not a problem, right? I will just copy this, right, right, right. I will just copy this. Now what I can do, right? Now I'll just write another, you know, logging with time, time, level name, logging with time, level name, and message. Message. So you can have one another parameter here that is called as format. So we have format. So here after logging, you can just write format. Now, how you want to format? Right? Python has given the liberty. So for example, you want to first have the time. So for that, you have to write ASCII time. So let's say ASC time. Simple. ASC time. Let's say S. Then you want to have the level name. So you can just write again as here and inside this level name. Very simple. Similarly, you want a message. So percent, then S, and here inside this you have message. Done. Done. And nothing else. You don't have to do anything. Just you need to change the format. So I'll just restart the kernel so that I can show you. Now this should be having a time as well. So now let's execute this process data, and let's say I will execute this first, and then again I will execute process data, and this time I will be using some invalid input, some invalid input, invalid input. Now if you execute this and now see the log, so this time if you see, you will be having some time and message as well. So this is your date, this is your time, this is your level, and this is the message. So now you will be able to understand that this ran at this time, right? This ran at this time. So at 22 seconds, this was completed. At 37 seconds, right, this started. And that's how you got an error. Is it cool? Did you guys understood? Everyone? Everyone enjoying? Yes or no? Yes or no? Right, 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 right. Now guys, very good. Few more examples we will be seeing after we understand try except. But before that, now move ahead to solve again one more question, and I want you guys to solve this. But before that, there is some gyan in me I want to give you guys. What other checks you can put? So let's say you are writing this code for production ready code, right? You want to deploy it, you want this to be ultra error free, no error should be there. Then what are the other things that you can put here? Right, right. What are the other checks you can do here? Everyone, what are the other checks you can do here? What are those numbers? So those numbers, these numbers you are saying, these are the multi threads. So multiple threads is happening. So these are the numbers. Oh, this is microseconds. 371 microseconds. 336, 336. This is a part of time. Right, right, right. So what are the things that you can add more here? Anyone has any idea? One of the more checks. This is the homework. Please try to do. So let's say this is a list, right? This is a list. But what if inside the list there is a string, right? What if inside this list there is some string? And what if this list is empty? Who will check this? Yes or no? Everyone agrees to this or not? Right, right. This is the way you actually decide, or actually you uh, 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 write the code. So tips, tips for logging, for logging. First, And there was one question asked: what level should be used when? Who had asked, guys? I don't remember the name, but someone had asked what level should be used when. Always initialize from the first level. From initialize from the first level. This is the best practice, until unless you want to ignore few things, but I generally always initialize from the first level. Second, always try to think edge cases. Think edge cases. Right. How? Right. Further the above function, further the above function can be enhanced. Function can be enhanced by checking empty list, empty list, or any element being and any element and any element being a string, because string you cannot square, right? So what are these are nothing but edge cases, right? Always initialize from the first level, and always try to think of edge cases. These are two things. And while debugging, right, use divide and rule, divide and conquer policy. What is the meaning of this? Always divide the sub problem, check the sub problem. Okay, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay, here is the problem, this could be the possible problem. So to break the things, always do this to actually debug in a more effective way. But anyway, let's move ahead. So now I will give you a question, right? Very important question. This will give you a confidence. So let's say we have a list, something like this. L is equals to this list, maybe let's say 100. Then we have something career, then we have something inside this 2, and let's say here we have craft, then we have, let's say, hello world, hello world, and let's say here 4, something like this. Right. Now you have to write a program to separate separate, right, the integer and string in separately two list separately. So guys, this you have to write a program, right, and properly log everything. So you have to log everything, right? So are you guys trying? Everyone, right? Quickly, will you guys try it out? Yes or no? Right. Where no one is responding. Right. Okay. So guys, please try it out on your own, right? I will be giving you the solution on the notebook. I will provide you the solution. So you don't need to worry about that. I will provide you the solution, but please try it on your own. Will you guys try it out? Right. So whenever I will be upload, yes, this is a part of homework. Whenever I will be uploading this notebook, right, right, right. Whenever I will be uploading this notebook, right, you will find the solution. Okay. Okay. Right. So this completes our logging and debugging. So logging and debugging we have completed. Now comes a related topic, right? A related topic, that is exception handling, right? Right, 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 right. Exception handling. So we will start with exception handling. So to start with exception handling, So should we take a 5 minutes of break, guys? Right? Everyone, should we take a break and then should we restart? Yes. So let's take a, today we will take 2 minutes extra, 7 minutes time. So let's take a 7 minutes of break. So let's start, guys. Should we start? Everyone back. Okay, so let's start. Right. So let's start. Right. Right. So now, right. Right. So we have understood about logging. Right. So now one associated thing is exception handling. Right. 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 What is exception handling? We are going to see everything in detail. So no need to worry about that. Right. So let's start. Right. 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 So exception handling and the best practices. So I'll just write it here. Exception handling, exception handling, and the best practices. Just a second, guys. Oh, there is always my camera is. So I don't know why. Okay. Anyway, not a problem. Let it be. So logging and debugging. Then we have exception handling, and best practices. Right. So we'll start with this now. Right. 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 Should we start, guys? Everyone. Should we start? Right. 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 Yes. Very good. Very good. So let's start, guys. First thing. Right. 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 Whatever you are logging, right, you must have realized one thing, that most of these logs will be at the exceptions. So that's why this exception handling is very important to understand. But what is this exception handling? So we'll talk about everything in detail. What is this exception handling? So we'll see this in detail, not a problem. Right, 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 right. So for example, I will give you a very easy example. Right, right. Here, let's say again, same example. 10 divided by 2, it will give you 5. 6 divided by 3, it will give you 2. But the moment you divide 10 divided by 0, it will give you an error. Right? Fine, this is error. Right? But does it mean, so let's say this gives you the error, but let's say there are some program like this. Print 2 by 3, 2 divided by 3, print 5 divided by 6, 5 divided by 6, then print, right? I love Monjolika, right? Let's say again, let's say print 100 by 0, and then print, print, right? I want to go, I want to go Rome, right? Let's say Rome, let's say France. I want to go to France. Very good. This is the program. But now, if you execute this, what will happen? Right. What is happening here? Very simple. Print 2 by 3 works. Print 5 by 6 works. Print I love Monjolika works. But the moment, right, it comes to 100 by 0, it throws an error. Right. It throws an error. Right. 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 It throws an error. And that is the problematic thing. This is a problematic thing. Right. Right. This is a problematic thing. But why? Right. Due to one error, due to one error, right, which can be relevant or irrelevant. I'm not talking about relevancy. Due to one error, whole program execution stopped. execution stopped. Everyone agrees to this? Yes or no? Right? Yes, abnormal termination of the fourth statement. So here this stopped, this was not executed. Right, 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 right. Now there can be, so this is an error, right? Due to one error, whole program execution is stopped, or let's say abnormal termination. But you can use this word, abnormal termination. But now the problem is, fine, this is abnormal termination. This is the program has stopped, but there is 2-3 problems in it. Right, right. There are 2-3 problems in it. First, if you will see this type of error, so we are technical person, we are yo-yo person, we are tech person, we understand the problem. But do you think if there is a business team, someone is not knowing anything in the coding, they will be happy after seeing this? Right, they will just jump from the top floor. Right, right. They will think that, why the hell is this? What is the meaning of this? I don't understand anything. Yes or no? Everyone agrees to this or not? Right, right. That's not a good sign. This is the first thing. No, Jyoti, you are also a technical person. Second thing, right, right. Second thing, after seeing this error, right, you don't think that you have known a part of the code? Yes or no? You are now knowing a part of the code. Everyone agrees to this or not? Because now you know this 5 by 6, I love Manjulika. At least the user knows now that my girlfriend is Manjulika. Now, if user knows that I love Manjulika, she can, or he can, the user can go on internet, right, do anything with my Manjulika's picture. Right, right. In a conclusion, I just want to say that hacker or someone who is interested in your business might get benefited from this type of error. Right, that's the problem. So you have to handle this type of problem. Right, you have to handle it, otherwise it's a very problematic thing. Right, 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 right. This is a problematic thing. Right, 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 right. So now the question is, why to handle this type of error? Why to handle this type of error? This type of error. First thing, right? Program should not execute. Any program should not execute abnormally. Execute abnormally. Abnormally. If error not handled, it reveals, this is called as stress back. This is called as trace back, right? So where you are getting the error, Python is so beautiful that it gives you the line also. Okay, there is the error, right? So if error not handled, it reveals the information about the code due to trace, which can be beneficial for hackers, or which can be a problematic thing for security purpose. Beneficial for hackers, right? They can just join the information, or they can just add the information in bits and pieces, and they can plan something big against you. That is a possibility, right? Beneficial for hackers. Right, 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 right. So in that case, what you have to do? You have to handle the error. So you have to handle the error. So what is the solution? Solution: handle the error. Handle the error. But now, How can you handle the error? So to handle the error, you need to understand what are different types of error. So we will start with different types of error. So majorly there are two types of error. First one is during compilation, during compilation, compilation. That is called as syntax error. Syntax error. So this is your syntax error, right? Syntax error that happens during compilation and during runtime. That is during execution, you have some exceptions. During execution, execution of a program. This is called as exceptions. So exceptions, right? Exceptions. So these are two types of error. I will explain you everything in detail. So no need to worry about that. So we will start with first syntax error and then move ahead slowly with the exceptions. So exceptions during execution of a program or runtime. During the runtime. Very simple. During runtime. This is the understanding. This is the understanding. Right. Now, moving ahead, example of syntax error. We'll start with syntax error. So let's say syntax error. So for example, basic example. So if you write like this, right? For example, S is equals to Ajay. Ajay. This will throw you an error. See, this is syntax error. Right, right, right. Let's say you will write for I in S, or let's say for I in Ajay. Ajay. Print, print I. This will give you an error. There is no any colon. Right. So let's say you want to print something. Print, 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 something like this. Hello, India. This will give you an error. Right. Something, let's say you have written print like this. This will also give an error. But in Python 2 version, this didn't used to give an error, but earlier version of Python. But now this will give you an error. Right. Right. If conditional like this, if right, right, s is equals to a, right, then what do you write? Print, print something like this, anything, print something, something. This will again give you a syntax error. See, all of these are syntax error, all of these syntax error, and this error while compilation itself will give you. Compilation means, when your code is being converted into binary for execution, that is compilation. We already have discussed this compilation, interpretation, everything in detail, but this is the error. Another example, let's say you have a list, something like this. L is equals to 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So let's say like 1 2 3 4. Now there are four elements, but you want to check the 50th index or 70th index. Then again, this is also an error, right? This is also an error, right? Right, right, right. But this type of error comes in a different format. Uh, you know, this will most probably come under the runtime error. But anyway, but now here you have seen some syntactical error. So what are the syntactical errors? Right. So examples of syntax error. Examples of syntax error. Whatever we have seen till now. First thing, maybe missing of colon, right? Then missing of indentation, right? Indentation. Then maybe missing parenthesis or brackets, right? This is all examples of some syntax error, right? Right, 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 right. Now comes another type of error that is called as runtime error. Runtime error. So we will discuss about runtime error or the exception, right? Or the exception. But one more thing. Actually, what I can do, Syntax error. Fine. One more thing. Let's also discuss few more of the error so that it is pretty much more clear. So this is the syntax error. Then we can also have, some error like this. So let's say here we have L is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you wanted to access, let's say, 28th element. This will give you index error. So this is called as index error. So here I can just write index error. So this is also actually comes under syntax error only, index error. So it is thrown when you are trying to access an item at at right at at index which doesn't exist. Very simple. Exist. This is again an index error, right? Now let's say you have something like this. So you have a dictionary like this. D is equals to name, and then you'll just write cc, right? Now you want to access something like this. D, instead of name you want to access, let's say, gender. It will again give you some error, that is key error. So key error means, key error key error when an identifier is not found, when an identifier is not found, right? Right. Now moving ahead, let's say if you remember we had logging, import logging, right? Logging, right? So this module, if you import, it can import it. But let's say if there is no any module called logging logging let's say there's no any module, it will give you again an error, module not found error, no module named logging so here in this case, if you don't have any module, then it will give you module not found error. No module exists in Python. No module exists in Python. This is the understanding. No module exists in Python. Right? Right. So far, so good, guys, everyone. Right. Now let's say again moving ahead. So let's say you have you don't have initialized any value, let's say, which is named after Z. So print Z. So what it will give you? Name error. It means Z doesn't exist. This is called as name error. Right. Okay. Other error, let's say, maybe this is done. So maybe let's say you want to have, so this is your, let's say, name error. So name error. If the identifier doesn't exist, this will give you an error. Now let's say there can be let's say integer of integer of ram. So can you convert this to integer? No. Again this will give you a value error, another type of error, right? So let's say last example, let's say you have again a list. L is equals to, right, let's say L is equals to ram syam, right? Ram syam, and let's say 1. Now you want to make every element upper. Actually this is used with string, but you are using upper, it will again give you some attribute error, because this method is not associated with list. Attribute error when a method is not associated with the data structure. These are structure different types of error. Here similarly, value error, if something cannot be converted, if something, no, right, some other property of data structure is used, some other property is expected from object from object. That's the understanding. But let's say these are the errors. But do you need to remember? No, you don't need to remember this. This only comes with practice. But let's say if you want to see all the errors at one place, then what you can do? Just Google it out, right? What you have to Google it out? Errors in Python. Errors in Python. Just Google it out. Errors in Python. So here you will find official documentation, errors and exceptions, and you will find it here. See, from this is the place where I have discussed different types of error, syntax and exceptions. syntax error and exceptions. So I'll just copy this, right? And you can have different types of error, right? Whatever you want to look at, you can just have it, right? So now this for detailed error and exceptions, for detailed errors and exceptions, you can visit this, right? This is the understanding. Now right, now we are going to exceptions. The name itself suggests a lot of things. Exceptions means, right, exceptions. What is the meaning of exceptions? Something abnormal, right? Something abnormal, something abnormal, right? Which you didn't expect it, something abnormal, right? Right. So what will happen here, right? Right. So when does exception happens, right? Right. 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 Some unexpected event happened at runtime. Very good, Sada. So I can just write, right? Unexpected, some unexpected event event happened at a runtime. Happened at a runtime. This is your understanding. Right? Right. So exceptions are raised by Python runtime. Right. So exceptions are raised by Python runtime, and we need to tackle it. Right. Right. Raised in Python runtime, and need to handle it. Handle it. This is the understanding. Now, for example, there can be a lot of exceptions, right? Lot of exceptions, right? So, for example, if you see divide by zero examples, examples, divide by zero, right? Zero division error, zero division error. When it happened while execution. So logically you were wrong. So this is your logical error, right? Sometimes you will find, right, 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 right. Java runtime error. Rajkumar is saying runtime error. You can also find runtime error in Python. Whenever you will be having some infinite loop running for a lot of time, then you can get that error, right? Right, 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 right. So let's say runtime error, right, right. Execution time error, right? Execution time error, execution time error, right? Another example, while connecting to the database, you were not able to connect. Database error, right? This I have faced a lot. File not found error, very good. So file not found error, file not found error, right? These all types of error. These all are error also, but these type of errors can happen while you are doing something, right? Why? While you are executing some program, right? Right? Right. Now, 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 now the question is how to handle this, how to handle this type of error. So here I will just write how to handle this type of error, this type of error, right? So you have to use try and accept. This is the thing that you have to use to handle it, right? Right. So now we are starting with the main exception handling. Right. So we will also discuss best practices, right? In industry, what, how should you do it? So we'll discuss everything, right? Right, right. But yes, so we are now going to start to understand the try, accept. So this is also popularly known as try and catch in other programming language. But let's see. So now guys, let's see and go back to the same program that I had shown you. So this is the program. Now you want this to be executed, right? This to be executed without giving any error. Then what we can do? How can you do this? Right. So I'm going to give you an example. So what you have to do, right? First of all, try accept. I will just put syntax. syntax, 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 try, try. So this try, here you have to write the suspicious code, suspicious code. Whatever code you are suspicious, you can write this and accept. In this accept, how you want to handle this, how to handle, how to handle this case, handle this case. This will be very, very much clear when you will understand this. So let's say here this was the code and I am suspicious about everything here, right? Everything here. So what I can do, right? Here what I can do. So I can simply write try. So please try this all code, right? Please try all of this code. Very good. Try. And then here I can just write except. Wherever exception comes, you can just write print there is some error. There is some error. Some error. So now execute it. Right. Right. See here. The result is there. Now the error is more informative. There is some error. It is not giving the trace back as it was giving earlier. Yes or no? Everyone agrees to this or not? See here. It is not giving any information about something here, whatever written here. But only whatever is printed. Right. Right. But again, this is not the best practice. So people do like this, but this is not the best practice. So I will just write here. Here now you have handled exception. You have handled an exception, but this is not a best practice, right? Always go for a specific exception. Always go for a specific exception. Now how to go for a specific exception? Now again, this is another header, right? So what you will do, guys, so let's say here, now here I am going to just keep this line print 100 so just for important demonstration purpose, so let's say 100 by 0, 100 by 0. Now here accept. Now try and accept, you understand, but there is something called exception class. So if you just Google it out, exceptions in Python, exceptions in Python. So this exception is a parent class which consists of all the exceptions. See here, syntax error exceptions. So this exception is a class, right? Right. So this exception is a class which has all type of exceptions, right? So right, exception. So here you will write handling. So accept exceptions. So accept exceptions, right? So what is exception? Right, I will just write here. Exception is the parent class of all the of all the exception, all different types of exception, and loosely told you can say error. Very simple. So accept exception, right? And then this exception, this can be some name, there can be some name. So here let's say maybe I will write as E. So here let's say as E. So whatever there in the exception comes, I will catch that as E, and maybe let's say here print E, print E. So here now if you execute, here I have written exceptions, this should be without S. So now if you execute division by 0, this is the understanding. Now this is very important. I mentioned here that always go for a specific exception, but here is still it is not a specific exception, right? It is thus that you are only getting division by 0. So here if you just divide 100 by 0, then you will understand that only this is something that is being printed. But the moment you capture this, then that will be the specific exception. Now, how to do that? Let's try to do this. So here I will do, in this case, try 100 by 0, except in this except go for a specific error, that is zero division error. Zero division error. So handling with specific exception. So now in this case, what will happen? 100 by 0, except 0 division error as E. And now, how you want to handle? So maybe let's say print whatever you want to do. I am I am handling 0 division error. Handling 0 division error. I am handling 0 division error. And let's say how you want to handle. Maybe let's say this was the value a is equals to 100 by 0. Maybe what you can do, so assigning a 0, a 0. So now what will happen? A is equals to 0. If it is 100 by 0, then it becomes A becomes 0. So now I am handling 0 division error. So assigning A 0, and now if you execute this, value of A is 0. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Did you understood this, everyone? What we have done here? Wasn't it is very easy, right? Right? Yes, yes or no? Right? Very good, very good. So let's see another example. Let's say if you see, you will not find any file here with name file.txt. Let's say there is no any file named as file.txt, and still you want to read read the file, right? Right. So let's say try. Then what you can do, right? Try with, maybe let's say open some file name. So maybe file.txt, file.txt, and let's say you want to open this in a read mode and then as file. Very good. Now after you have opened the file, so what you will do? File.read, right? And you want to print file.read and then print. Now the problem is you want to read a file that doesn't exist. Then in that case, what will happen? So you will have to handle it, except, right? Right. Except exception, exception as E, and then here print, right? An error encountered, an error encountered, and you can just like this, right? Like this. So E. Now execute this. See here, since file doesn't exist, you can simply write an error encountered. No such file or directory exists. Now to make it more beautiful, you can do one thing more. So E, you can just write, right, 10 or 12 character. Let's say 12 character till end. So let's say 12 characters. Okay. 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 Anyway, I'm not able to do this. So you can just understand, to make it more beautiful, you can convert this into list or dictionary, whatever it is. It might be a string, and then you can get this removed, and you can just have no such file directory, file.txt. This is the understanding. Now, again, as mentioned earlier, you have to always catch, always catch a specific error. So now, how to catch a specific error? So you know that, right? You are trying to open a file. So obviously, while opening a file, if file doesn't exist, then you can encounter this problem, and that's why you can simply write file not found error. So accept file not found error, and then you can print file not found, file not found. So you can just write file not found. Please check the database. Simple. Check the database. If file exists, file exists. So this type of things you can do. Now see here, file not found. Please check the database if it exists. Did you guys understood this? Right? Everyone, right? Right. Everyone, yes or no? Quickly, right? Right. I can give you more example. Let's say you want to convert try. Let's say try. You want to convert something to integer. Let's say integer. You want to convert career craft. Career craft. You want to convert this to integer. Will you be able to do this? The answer is no. So here you can just write accept, maybe value error. So value error, and here I can write as e, and then maybe write print. The string cannot be converted to integer. The string cannot be cannot be converted to integer integer, and that's how you get value e. See, right, right, right. This is the understanding. Everyone. Now moving ahead. So can we tackle two errors together? The answer to your question is yes. Right. If someone asks you, I will come slowly for that. I will come slowly for that. Right. But here, right, right. Let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. I will show you some example. Right. 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 So again, I will give you an example. So let's say try p is equals to 10. See, then file is equals to, I'll just copy this file, or let's say file is equals to open and file.txt, and then let's say let's say ah, so file doesn't exist, let's say. Then then let's say print f dot file dot read. Right. Obviously it doesn't exist, it should give you an error. Now let's say print, I want to show you print p. Then let's say print, right, print, let's say, you know, uh, L1, right. Then let's say print 100 by 0. Right. Right. Now again, let's say define L is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then L access 100. Right. Now first of all, answer me accept. So I'll just write accept. Here you have to write different exceptions. But now see and comment here. After seeing this code, what do you think, guys? What could be specific exceptions after seeing this code? Just answer me. Already we have seen these errors, but after seeing this code, what do you think, guys? What could be the possible exceptions here? Quickly, anyone, right? Right. So that says file not found error, 100 by 0. Multiple, there can be multiple errors, right? So here if you see, first thing, this can give you one error. So can I write it here that the first exception can be file not found error? So file not found error. So this can be here print. Please check the database. Please check the database, database. File not found. File not found. This is the first thing. Then second exception. What can be second exception? So let's say except. This time, let's say print P is fine. Print L1. Now L1 doesn't exist. L1 doesn't exist. Then you can have name error. Name error. So here you can just write print. The object is not defined. The object is not defined. Object is not defined. Defined. Now, third, zero division error. So 100 by 0, zero division error. So again, except this time now you can write zero division error. See here, zero division error. And then here I can just write zero division error. So print, right? You can't divide the denominator cannot be 0, cannot be 0. Fine. This is the third thing. And finally, one more thing. So let's say there can be other possibilities of exceptions as well that you don't know. Then in that case, generic you can write exception as E, and then you can write print E. Simple. Execute this. See here. Please check the database file not found. Right. Right. It means here itself file not found. But now, one very interesting thing. One very interesting thing. So now let's change the place of this except exception as E here. Now answer me, guys. What will be executed? What will be executed? Quickly. What will be executed if I have now changed the place of except exception as E? Right, right. So what will happen, guys? Quickly, right? So if you execute, then it will never come inside this particular specific exceptions. It will never come inside particular exceptions. So if you just execute here, no such file directory, that is file.txt. So comment. So what is the comment here? I'll just write here comment. कौन? जस्ट गिव मी सेकंड. फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे आ जाओ, फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे. So in this case, what will happen? Right. In this case, what will happen here? Right. Right. In this case, very simple. Right. This is a problematic thing. Right. Right. Now here comments. I will write the comment. Right. Parent class will always be caught. This is the understanding. Right. 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 So this is the understanding. So ideally, all the specific errors, all the specific errors, all the specific errors, all the specific exceptions should be written first, should be written first, and written first, and then generic, then parent class. This is the best practice that you should follow. Guys, let me take 3 minutes of break, 3 minutes timer. So I'll just come back in 3 minutes. Right. So So we start now, guys, everyone. Yes or no? Quickly. Back, everyone. Very good. So let's start, guys. Let's start. So now, so we have understood all the specific exceptions should be written first, and then the parent class last. I see a new name, Abhishek Girkar, for the first time. Hi, Abhishek. Right. Now moving ahead, guys. So we have understood this. Right. 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 Now let's move ahead to see if we can have two specific exceptions in one go. The answer is yes, you can have. So for example, let's say try. I will just put it here, something like this. So any example? So let's say this. Now let's say try, right? And you can put two different exceptions in one place. Right? So for example, here, except value error, right? And then type error. Very simple. So basically, what is happening? Exception is a parent class, and these all are child class. So type error. You can also do like this. So value error and type error. So you can also do like this. The string cannot be converted. Anyway, since it is only a value error, you can just get something like this. Right? This is the understanding. Right? Now, similar to this, there can be a lot of examples. Quickly, I can just talk about again all the examples that I showed you earlier. So try, so let's say try, and here, let's say some value that is not defined. So let's say try, and let's say here, maybe some value TT is not defined. So then what if happen? What happens in this case? So you can just have except name error, right? Name error as E, and then you can just have print E. Whatever name error is there, you can just get it printed, right? TT is not defined, right? Similarly, you can have key error also. So let's say D is equals to some dictionary, let's say name, but let's say you want to access name Ajay. And then let's say you want to access gender. So what you can do? Try. So try, and then you want to access gender. So here you can just write gender, and then maybe write accept, and then here you can just write key error. So key error, and then as E, you can simply write print, right? The key not found, or the gender key in dictionary not found. Very simple. And let's say here it is E. So the gender key not found, that is gender, something like that. So the key not found, let's put key not found, that will be gender. There is similarly you can have index error as well. So let's say L is equals to 1234. So 1234, and now you want to access, let's say, something beyond the index that you have. So try. So let's say maybe try. I will put this code this time here only. You can also put this here itself. So try like this. Similarly here you can put L here. So I can just put like this, and here L4. So let's say L6, let's say L6, then again you can have accept, and then this time you can just put index error. So index error as E, and then you can just write print index error, or index doesn't exist, and then here you can just write the error also, whatever you want to say, right? So you can have all the exceptions that you want to put, right? So that is the understanding, right? Right. Now with try except, you have also something called finally and else, that we are again going to look at, right? So now try except we have understood. One more thing is there. Right. One more thing is there, right? Right. With try except, we have something called else and finally. What is the meaning of this? So I will give you with this an example. So I will just write else and finally. with try except, with try except, right? Now we are going to see this. So for example, we'll take an example. There was an example that we took a lot. Okay, this one, this file not found error. I will take this example. Now guys, here, try this except this. Very good, right? Now, if let's say this is executed, this doesn't throw any error. So obviously you have printed the line here, right? Right, right. But the best practice would be to print this here in the else block, print file.read, right? So here I can just, instead of this, I will just change the format. Maybe what I will do, open R mode and just write file. So here, file, file, file is equals to this, right? So ideally, no, you have written here, not a problem. But the best practice would be to do to do any type of execution if the try is executed successfully in the else block. Very simple. If try executes successfully, 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 you can, you can, you can put your rest code in else block, else block. Right. Now, you must be wondering, Sir Ajay, why should I not keep it here? You can keep it here as well. You can also keep in try. You can also keep in try. Keep in try. Not a problem. But the best way is to put like this. Obviously, file is not found. So that's why else will not execute. And then you have also finally. So, right. Finally. So, what does finally do? Right. Similar to, finally, similar to loops, right? Right. Print, it will definitely, it will definitely execute. It will definitely execute. Right. See here, it will definitely execute. So all the compulsory code, all the compulsory code, irrespective if try, irrespective of try except executed or not, try block executed or not, try block executed or not, right, 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 right. All the compulsory code, irrespective of try block executed or not, should be kept, should be in kept in finally block, right? Do you guys remember what could be the possible things? What should you put in the finally block? Anyone has any idea? Right, 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 right. Anyone has any idea? So basically, you can just simply write database close, database close. So let's say you have opened the database, right, right, but you want to close the database. So example, database close, first thing. Second, very good, resource cleanup, resource cleanup, resource cleanup, right, right. You can do this. Third, any final message or any execution message that like program is successful, something like that. Any execution message, you can put it here. This is the understanding. This is the thing that you understand. Is it clear, everyone? Right, right. Yes or no? Quickly, right? Anyone has any questions so far? Right, 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 right. Anyone has any questions so far? Quickly. Right, right, right. Very good. Rajkumar says else block. Else, whatever suspicious code is there that comes in try, and other than try, if try is executed, you can print that in else block. You can keep that in else block. Right. Most of the people keep the same thing in try itself, they will not put else. Right? Right? What happens in the industry? They will not care about else block. It's like whatever logic you have to put, they will put in the try. But it's not the correct way. If you want to actually write the good code, then try only suspicious code and else whatever logic you have. If try has done successfully, then else will be executed. Got it? Yes or no? Right, 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 right. Now, guys, right. Some of the best practices, again, we have discussed few best practices here as well. So, some more best practices. Some more best practices, right? Some more best practices. So don't try don't try don't try to use unnecessary exception. Don't try to use unnecessary exception. What is the meaning of this? Don't try, right, to use unnecessary exception or multiple exception. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? So let's say here you want to, let's say maybe you want to actually read a file, right? So let's I will just copy this. Okay, so here let's say you want to read a file, right? You want to read a file. This is your example one text or whatever file. So we are using file, so let's say file.txt. You want to read this, right? Now guys, think it do you think that this zero division error makes sense here? Right, right. Do you really think that this zero division error will make sense here? Any sense? Right, anyone? Do you really think? It will never make any sense here. Reason being, it can never ever occur. It can never happen here. So this will actually no doesn't serve any purpose. So here you can just write, right, example in below example, in below example, below example, zero division error, zero division error, division error doesn't make sense. 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 So this is the understanding. Right, right. So you should not have unnecessary try except block, right, right, right. Already mentioned that always have the parent class exception in the last, right? And if you are not clear, let's say if you are not clear with the exceptions, clear with the exceptions, simply use parent class, simply use parent class, right? Parent class, right? This is the understanding. Now there is one more, right? What's the thought process while doing the exception handling? Simple thought process. Try to think of the edge cases. If you understand the edge case, then use those edge cases error in the except block. If you are not able to think, then please use generic exception and catch the error as E. Whatever you do as E. So you will just try to catch E. That's it. Right, 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 right. Now, 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 now. Right. So let's say I will just write the same comments. Conclusion, so that everyone is on the same page. Conclusion. While writing code, writing code, try to think of edge case, trying to think of, try to think of edge case, think of edge slash corner cases, and use corresponding, 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 corresponding exceptions. If you are not able to think, if not able to think, use exception class, general exception class. That's it. Exception class. Right, 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 right. So what should thought process to get done? So what will it impact on execution while we use gender exception? No, execution performance will not impact. The reason being simple, you are just entering except block either as a zero division error or general exception, right? So it's not making any difference. Jyoti says, and what when else? Already mentioned else, whenever you want to run any logic, you want to execute any logic, if your try block is successful, you can put it in the else block. But many of the time in the industry, people only put it here itself that, okay, let it be like this. But that's not the best practice. Now we have something else. So let's say we have another important point that is very important thing, and we will be solving a lot of problem as well. Always try to log the exception. This is also something very important. Always try to log the exception. This is another best practice. Always try to log the exceptions. Right. Right. No, finally block will be only once. So always try to log the exceptions. How? Very easy. Right. Same thing. Right. Right. What we will do? So let's say here you have written something like this. I will just copy this. See what I am going to do. I will just copy this. Right. See here, here, try, read, zero division error. So anyway, this is not required. So I'll just remove this. File not found error. Fine. Now, instead of print, here I will just write logging. Logging. So just write logging, and let's say this is my error, or whatever error you want to log, right? So logging here with this f string. Always remember logging works with this f string. So logging dot maybe error, logging error, and then you can put like this here, like this. Again, the same reason that print statement is only here. You can see the print statement here, but in command prompt or in the console or in the terminal, wherever you will be executing, you will not be finding the print statement, right? And now just execute it. Now you will find the log here in the data prep log, because current log is this one. So here itself, error my file not found. So you can see the log like this. This is the next best practice of log. So maybe what I will do, I can just, for the completion of code, I will just write everything, import logging, and then here logging dot basic info, basic config. Okay, I will just copy this. So already you might have, we might have all the things already here with us. So where is the logging? So that everything is in one go. You guys don't need to work. So data prepare.log. Yes. So I can just have this log also defined here. Very simple. Very simple. Right. So always log. That's also the best practice that you can do. Right. Now, moving ahead, we have seen this, right? Now, let's move ahead to another very important topic, raise exception. So you can also raise the exception. What is the meaning of raise exception? So just write raise exception, right? What is the raise exception? Right. Right. So you can raise the exception. Exceptions are raised when error occurs, right? Right. Manually, 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 using raise keyword, right? Right. Occurs on in runtime, or even manually using raise keywords. Both way you can do that, right? Right. You can also pass a message. You can also pass a message. You can also pass a message. Message as in why, why error has executed. Wally says, can we write nested try except? Yes, Wally. You can write nested try except, but that's not a best practice. If you are writing nested try except, it means you have not understood the problem statement, you know, carefully. So here, best practice, avoid nested try except. You can do it, try except, avoid nested try except, right? You can do it, right? But that's not a best practice. So think like this. So you have written something in the try. Now you are already suspicious about that particular thing, right? So what is the try except hierarchy, right? This is, so let's say this is the thing, right? So let's say try. So try. So try. You are already suspicious about this code, about this code. Then again, why you want to do try here? No point. No point, right? So that's not the best practice, right? So avoid nested try except as as it's not a best practice. Best practice, already you have a suspicion in the code. Suspicion in the code. That's the understanding. Clear? Now, raise, how to raise it? Very simple. Raise, let's say here we have zero division error. So you can raise any error, whatever you want. Raise zero division error. Maybe, let's say, you can simply pass the message the denominator cannot be zero. Denominator cannot be zero. Simple. See here. You have raised zero division error. Zero division error, the denominator cannot be zero. You can raise whatever error you want. So let's say rage. Here you can just write file not found error. So file, file, file not found error. Simple. File not found error. See, file not found error. So the file didn't, we, file was not there. File is not present. Very simple, right? So whatever error you want to raise, you can raise it with a proper message that you want to pass. So you can do this as well. Now we will be seeing this, you know, uh, you know, we will see this in detail. So no need to worry about that. So we will look after a lot of many examples, at least 2 3 examples now. Yeah, it will be custom exception. It will come in the custom exception. Don't worry, I will talk about this. So now we have seen everything. So what we can do, uh okay, right, 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 right. So raise is something like, if you have studied in Java, so Java we have try, catch and throw. Similarly here, try, accept and reach. Simple, something like that. So I can just write here in Java you have try, catch and throw. In python in python in python we have try, accept and reach. But now let's try to understand this, right, with an example. Do you remember, guys, class ATM? How many of you remember class ATM? We already have discussed, right? So class ATM. Now let's say we can have def underscore underscore init. So we have underscore underscore init. So application of reach. So I'll just write application of reach. Now see it carefully, right? So in ATM, right, what you can have self, then let's say pin or balance, something like that. So but we will take only one variable, that is balance. Right? Now self dot balance is equals to balance. Otherwise, you can just deposit, withdraw using ATM. A lot of things can be done here, but I'm not taking, no, sorry, a deposit amount, withdrawal amount. You can take a lot of variables. So let's say amount, deposit amount, let's say amount, maybe let's say amount. I'm just putting it here, amount, right? So amount self dot amount is equals to amount. Fine. Now, guys, this is very simple. Whenever you want to withdraw some money, so let's say withdraw some money, right? Well, I'll put it withdraw. Let's say I will not put it like this one. Self dot balance, and let's say I will just remove this. So now think it carefully. If you want to withdraw some money, self dot withdraw, self dot amount, sorry, self amount. Now, if you want to withdraw some money, first thing, can amount that you want to withdraw, can it be lesser than the balance? Just think it. Can it be the lesser than the balance? Is it possible that the amount that you are trying to withdraw is lesser than balance? It is not possible. So here I can simply write if self dot balance, so let's say self dot balance is less than amount. So in this case, what we will do? If self dot balance is less than amount, then what you can do? Either you can log it or you can raise the exception. Raise exception. Right, right, right. Raise exception. Very simple. And what you want to accept, what you want to raise? You don't have sufficient balance. Sufficient balance. Balance. Please, please say sorry to your daddy, or please talk to your daddy. Simple. That's it. That's it. Right. Now, again, another case, someone put a negative number or less than zero. Can I write if amount, amount, amount is less than zero? It is also possible, guys. Right. Then you can simply write raise, raise exception, exception. Right. Then you can simply write, are you mad? Are you mad? Are you mad? How amount can be negative? Simple. Right. 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 And in all other cases, let's say maybe you can simply write here amount can be negative. So, and if the amount has been right, 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 correctly put, then you can just write self dot balance is equals to self dot balance, balance minus amount. This is how it works. Simple. Now let's make an object of this. So ATM, and then let's say balance is 10,000 or 1,000. So this is your, maybe, uh, you know, transaction one. So T1 is this. Now, after that, what you can do, right? Try, right? What do you want to do? So you want to withdraw. So T1 dot withdraw. So let's say this you want to withdraw, and maybe this time you want to withdraw 2,000. Right? So you have balance 1,000. Now you want to withdraw 2,000. Now see it carefully. Except exception. So I'll just write except exception as E, and then I will just write print E or rest. See, many of you were asking about what is the use case. See, in the rest case else, right? I will just want to put T1 dot balance, right? Balance. I want to execute this. So just let's say else print T1 dot balance, balance. Okay, I'm not getting this. Maybe I haven't made object like this. That's why. So let's say this is the understanding. Now execute this. See here, you have only deposited 1,000, right? Right. And you want to withdraw 2,000. You don't have sufficient balance. Please talk to your daddy. So whatever exceptions you had, so you first raised here, and then it is caught here at this exception, and this is the message that you got printed. So here you are raising the exception. So in the class, in the class, you raised the exception, you raised the exception, which is caught, which is caught, which is caught, which is caught in later in later in try except. Is it clear, everyone? Why can't we use elif else? You can do whatever you want. There's no any disadvantage of using elif else. Right. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no? Right, 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 right. Now, guys, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. So, can we create a custom exception? Now, this is very interesting. So, actually, you have done half of the custom exception, but I will make you create a custom exception class as well. So, custom exception class. Can you make or your own custom exception? The answer to your question is yes, you can make it. How? Right. So let's say I will make a class called as right, right, custom exception, custom exception, custom exception. But this will derive from the parent exception class, the parent exception class. And now let's say I want to put something like this. So let's say def init, init, and then maybe I will just write self and then message. So let's say message and then message. Then I can just write self dot message equals to message. Right? Right? Very good. Not a problem. Right? Now what I'm going to do, now I can go ahead and simply copy the same code. So first of all, I will execute this. Right. So I will execute this. Right. This. No. So just write inheriting from exception parent class. Parent class. Now here if you see, I will execute this as well. Now I will go to this part. So this is interesting. So now change this part. Now here instead of exception, you can use custom exception. Custom exception. So here instead of exception, exception, you can use custom exception. You can use custom exception. Done. Oh, see here, this is your custom exception. This will give you an error. You don't have sufficient balance. Please talk to your daddy because here you are raising it and this is your custom exception. So this is how you can do. One thing what you can do, use custom exception as E and then instead of printing E, right, use pass. So let's say here pass. Instead of printing E, instead of printing E, that is error, use pass so that error is not shown, is not shown. Now let's execute this. Okay, still it shows that except custom t1 dot withdraw, you don't have sufficient balance. This range is fine, this range is already fine. Class ATM withdraw, t1 is ATM. You don't have sufficient well, please talk to your daddy. Okay. So in this case, maybe you don't need to raise exception. If you don't want to raise, you cannot raise it, or you can just catch it. So since you are raising it, and that's why you are getting everything t1 dot withdraw 2000, and then you are raising exception, and this is how you are raising the exception, right? Okay, so I guess that's the problem. Raise custom exception. This is something I have missed. Okay, very good, very good. So, very good, Sada. So this is something I missed it because this time it was taking the custom exception. So now let me see raise custom exception. Very good. So see here it didn't, you know, uh, give the error, right? So now yes, now it works. So this here I will just remove this. Instead of exception, since we have made our custom exception class, change to custom exception, custom exception, custom exception class. This is the understanding. That's it. Right, right. So hope you have understood and just made your own, you know, exception class as well. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no? Quickly. Right, right. Yes or no, guys? Quickly. Everyone. Did you guys understood? Right. Clear? Should we give one more example? Should I give more example? Right, 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 right. Yes or no? Right. Yes. Right. So let's see one more example. I guess today we will not be able to complete modules and packages and memory management. So maybe in the next class we will be seeing the modules and package and memory management. Modules and package is just a 15 to 20 minutes of class, right? Memory management is like 1 hour of class, and then we can do one project in the next class, or GUI using Python we can see, and then we can see a project and start with NumPy. But let's see. But anyway, so let's see one more question, right? Right, right. So let's say you want to filter a transaction. You want to, let's say you want to filter a transaction. You want to filter a, so examples. This is very real world examples, guys. So you will enjoy it. Examples. Examples. You want to, right, right, right. You want to, right. You want to. Jyoti, why do you ask same question? What is end to end? What is end to end? What is end to end? You have asked this thrice or 4 times, I guess, today. Sir, are we doing end to end project? Yes. Whatever we have understood till now, we will try to implement all of those things. Okay, Jyoti? Yes or no? Quickly. Right. Right. Okay. Now, guys. So let's say you want to do what? You want to, filter a transaction, transaction, right, above a threshold. So let's say you are a, data scientist working somewhere. There are a lot of transaction happening, but this time you want to filter a transaction which is more than given threshold, right? Which is more than given threshold, right? Right. Right. Given threshold means, so let's say there are customers, 10 customers. Someone is transacting 10 rupees, someone is doing 20 rupees, and someone is doing, let's say, 1 lakh of transaction. So obviously, you understand that the person who is doing 1 lakh of transaction, right, that person is more important. Yes or no, guys? Everyone agrees to this. So now you want to do, or you want to filter those transactions. So how can we do that? Right? How can we do that? So first of all, see how to write a logic, right? Right. And also see how we are going to filter the transaction. So first of all, I will put a logging, something like that. And now we'll define a function called filter transaction. So def filter transaction. So filter transactions. Let's say filter transactions. Right. Now you have transactions, and then we have some threshold, threshold, right? Transactions and threshold. Now, first thing, always start with writing like this: logging.info, and here you can just write filtering transaction has started. filtering transaction has started. Transaction has started for threshold. For threshold. What is the threshold that you want to put? So this is your threshold. Simple. This is the first thing. Now again, let's assume that the threshold is a list. Sorry, transaction is a list. Obviously, there will be some data. The transaction will be a data. So it can be a list. So I can just copy. Okay, let me not copy the previous code. So I'll just write if not is instance, right? Is instance of transaction. So transactions, and then here you want to have list. If it is not a list, then what you can do? Logging dot error, logging dot error. Transactions must be a list. Transactions must be a list. No one can give you a string or something like this. Must be a list. See, otherwise it will return none. Return, return, return none. Simple. Right. Now this is done. Then what you can do? Logging dot debug dot debug. You can pass a message that this is your transaction. So logging dot debug, and now here you can just write f. This is our input transaction. So you can just write input transaction. So input transaction. So I can just put like a input transaction. Done. So input transaction, and you can just put it here transactions. So transactions. Now what you want? You want those transactions, right? Right, which is greater than a threshold. So write the logic now. So how to write the logic? So maybe this time you will use try and except. So here I can just write for t in transactions, for t in transactions, if t is greater than threshold. And now you want this. So let's say t, right? So I will just put it in a filtered list. So any variable that is like here, let's say filtered. So filtered is equals to this, right? I will just first execute this filtered, right? Right, right. Now let's say again you should actually put one more message here, right? Right. What is the message? So let's say here logging.info, logging.info, right? Right. Try block has been executed. Then you can just put something like this, filtered, filtered, right? This will be length of transaction. So maybe let's say length of transactions, length of transactions minus length of, let's say, filtered, right? Length of filtered. So length of transactions minus length of filtered, length of filtered. And now I will close the bracket here. Sorry, parenthesis here. Transactions below the threshold. So these are the transactions below the threshold, below the threshold, right? Very good. So this you can do. Now what to put in the except block? So let's say here except block, there can be some type error, right? Why? There is a possibility that in the list there can be some string. So type error as E. I will show you. So don't worry about that. This is similar to what we had discussed earlier. So why type error? Type error because type error, right? Type error, type error because a value in the transaction list can be a string, something like that, can be string maybe, right? Right, right. And in this case what you have to do? Logging dot error. So logging dot error, and you just log the error, something like this, or error during filtering. So f string, and then you can just write error during filtering, filtering, something like this, error during filtering. So E, done. And finally in this except block, if you are there, then you can just put none value. right? Except block, if you are there, return none, right? Very easy. Now what you can do, you can just write in the last logging.debug. So here this logging dot debug 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 filtered transactions. So you can just write here filtered transactions, filtered transactions, transactions, filtered transactions, and then you can pass the filtered data. So easy, so simple. And last, return filtered, return filtered, filtered. Now let's try to test this, right? So this is a filter transaction. So maybe transaction, I will just write transaction is equals to maybe some value 100, then 1000, then 1200 or 12,000, let's say 10,000, right? Fine, these are the transactions, these are the transactions. Now what I will do, I will pass this into filter transactions, filter transactions. So you can just pass these transactions, so transactions, and let's say you want more than 10,000, right? So here you see 12,000 is the value which is more than that. But the moment you provide some invalid string here in the list, so let's see here. So if you just provide some invalid string, so invalid, you just pass it, then you will see it returned nothing. And if you see the log, so you have to just refresh the log, you will find the error out there. So you will just find the log, and here you will see the last log is error during filtering not supported between the instances of string and integer. So that's the whole idea, right? Right. Right. Did you guys understood? Anyone has question? Element, element. Due to string as element, right? It will return none, none, and lock. Sir, will it go think that log line of code in log file are only those lines we should print which is required? Because I have seen somewhere that they were use both approach. I want your opinion, sir. Please help. I didn't understood your question, Rajkumar. What you want to ask? I didn't understood. Just ask the question, the main question. Log file. I don't know what you are asking. Anyone has any other questions till now? Did you guys understood this? What I have done here? Now I can give you one more homework, right? Uh, right. Can you see exceptional code again? Yes. Why not? See the exception. Right. 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 So now, guys, I will give you one homework. The code will be available to you, right? So again, homework, right? Right. The code will be available to you. First homework: design a login portal, login portal, right? And have a compulsory security check, security, right? Compulsory security, custom class, security, uh, custom exception class, exception class, right? Right. So you have to design a login portal, right? You have to design a login portal, right? Now what will happen in that login portal, that you can have name, email, password, and device, something like that, right? If, right, right, the device is same, right, then you will be logged in. If device is not same, then it will raise an error and send an email to you, right? So obviously you might have seen, how many of you use Zerodha or something like that, right? Whenever you log in or access any portal from other system, even if you access Gmail from other system, then you receive an email, right? That email says that you are trying to access from here. Please click, please verify. Do you guys have seen this? Right, right, right. So similar to that, you don't have to send a message, but you have to design a class that will be your security class, which will, right, right. If the device is not seen, right, right, then it will just give you a message that this is not the correct login, right? And after that, it will log out from all other devices, right? It will log out from all other devices. This is something that you have to do. Everyone understood the problem statement? Everyone understood the problem statement? Yes or no first? You have to design a login portal of, let's say, Flipkart, Amazon, anywhere, right? In login portal, very simple, right, right, right. If the device is not same, first thing, it will give you a message that this login is not secured. Second, it will log out from all other device. Simple. Clear? Yes or no? Right, right. Rajkumar again asks, sir, it is good practice to log every line of code? No, it's not a good practice. Or should we only log the lines that are necessary? Only the lines that is suspicious to you. Think the corner case, right? I have seen both the approaches being used in different places. I would like to see. Simple. What I do, if I am working, I will only, for my general purpose, whenever I am working, I will only log the suspicious line, right? Okay, this can be suspicious, so this can be corner cases, this can be edge cases. But sometimes what happens, you are working for the client, right, right. So whenever you work in the client, right, I do try except, one main try except at an overall level. So what I will do, I will write all the code as it is, and at the end of the day, right, let's say there are 1000 lines of code. So let's say here I will just show you, right? This is the something people follow. So let's say I am writing a code of squaring a number, squaring a number, right? So I will just write, check the integer, check the second integer. I'm writing the third line, fourth line, fifth line. So let's say one try except is there here. Very good, not a problem, right? Very good, right? So you have written it. Obviously I mentioned nested try except should not be there, but what I will do, this particular function will be called somewhere. So while calling this function, I will write try except there. If there is any error returned and it is raised here, then it will be, you know, consumed here in this exception. So this way, while writing a code or application that is going to be in front of a client, this is the best practice that you follow. So you don't do try except in each of the block. You cannot do try except, you cannot do try except in each of the line. How can you do try except in each of line? The code which you will write in 10 minutes, it will take 1 hour to write. But this main function, wherever it is being called, you can add one try except out there. Got it? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys, quickly. All right. Anyone has any question? In the next class, we are going to see memory management, modules and packages, and actually Python is over. So memory management accepts no modules and packages, and then we'll start with NumPy. But also we have to do some project, and right, right. So two project I will for sure make it in front of you, and then two I will give you the solution or in the homework. Also, we have to see the GUI development in Python. So we are going to see, and then we'll start with NumPy. So that is the understanding. So that would be all for today's class. Thank you, everyone. If you guys have any suggestions, any feedback, please do let me know. I will provide the code of all of these things. So yeah. Okay. Okay, no any doubts. Then see you guys in the next week. This week also you will be getting some homework. Please try to do that. So that would be all. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.